Hey, it's the Terminian Hero here, and we're playing Ratchet Clank going Commando, and we are on planet Bolden for a pretty important reason. There's something special here, which, I mean, it is called Planet Bolden, which has Dan in the name, which may or may not be a Dan Johnson reference, I'm not sure, but that should kind of tip you off that something might be here. Now, there are 3 different ways to get to this secret. First, I'm gonna show you a glitched way. There is a building that you can get into if you hit that there and go and use that to go out of bounds here. Now, I showed this during the playthrough as a way to shortcut through the level, so I wouldn't have to take so long getting back to that one platinum bolt. But you see this building here? Yeah, we can get in this building if we just go around to the back where it's all glitchy here. And we can jump up through the floor. And yeah, that's the teleporter we want to go to. That is the teleporter that allows you to get here normally. And I'm just gonna let these guys... It is gonna take forever for them to kill me. I'm just gonna load my save again. My armor is too good now. Or maybe I could have just gone out through the teleporter I was just pointing at, but whatever, it's too late now. Anyways, another method of getting to this secret area is through the PlayStation 2's clock. Now, I mentioned before that that clock there shows actual time on your PlayStation 2 clock. And a lot of stuff in this stage is based on the clock. There's that nanotech boost that only appears every other hour. And one more thing is that there is a teleporter on this fountain here, and it only works between 3 and 4 a.m., and it says Insomniac Museum, and it brings you here. Yeah, this teleporter only works between 3 and 4 a.m. It is currently 3:09 a.m. for me, but I still had to adjust my PS2's clock because it was an hour off due to daylight savings time shenanigans. But yeah, you don't actually have to do this at 3 a.m. You can just change the clock. But I am actually doing this between 3 and 4 a.m. just because that is how my sleep schedule works. So now we just pretty much have to fight our way through this building. And that teleporter just says return to ship, okay. And now there is a third way to get to the Insomniac Museum. And I'm gonna show that in a second here. And that is through the shortcuts menu. Now, shortcuts... the shortcuts menu normally only allows you to go to places that you've been to in your current playthrough, such as either of the arenas or hover bike areas, or the 3, Mario Galaxy planets. But the Insomniac Museum unlocks as an option once you have obtained and spent all of the platinum bolts, which means that you need to buy the Rhino 2 for that, since one of the upgrades is for the Rhino 2. But yeah, so we can just shortcut to the Insomniac Museum since we've done that. But let's do this the normal way with the clock. And that looks like Earth in North America, maybe. And if we go to the map, when we flew in, it said we were going to Burbank, of course, California. But here it says the planet is called Dantopia. So, yeah, more Dan Johnson references. But here we are at the Insomniac Museum. I can't even go to previous map or next map because it's not in the lineup, apparently. No missions here. This is the Insomniac Museum. Now to leave, we just use this teleporter, which immediately takes you back to Bolden. But yeah, let's take a look around here.
This is Mike Stout. I'm a designer at Insomniac Games. Hi, welcome to the Insomniac Museum. Here you'll see some of the great things that never quite made it into the game, and you'll learn a little bit about life here at Insomniac Games.
So yeah, this is a place where you can find a bunch of beta elements in the game and various other things. We are gonna take the time to go look at everything. So I guess let's start off by going to this exhibit here.
Hello, my name is Brian Allgeier, the design director at Insomniac Games. These floating spherical monstrosities are the elusive gravity spheres, which were originally going to be included in Silver City. They proved to be too difficult, and a bit nauseating, to be included. They are preserved here for posterity. Swing shot up to try running around one, and then swing shot again to get off the sphere.
Okay. So yeah, like Super Mario Galaxy, and yeah, I could see that being nauseating. But yeah, and you can walk around the walls in here too sometimes. Now here is a vehicle.
Hi there, my name's Tim Trespass. I'm a gameplay programmer here at Insomniac Games. I'm a Leo from Washington, D.C. I like anime and shiny objects. This car was originally going to be included in the battle with the giant robot on Snivlac. Unfortunately, its lack of heavy weaponry proved its bane. It now calls the Insomniac Museum its home.
Alright, so yeah, that Snivlac boss battle was going to be different. It was going to include a car. Now, some of these vehicles, because there is more than one vehicle that you can drive in the Insomniac Museum. Some of these have weapons, some of them don't. This one doesn't seem to, which is odd since, you know, it was supposed to be for a boss, but maybe that's just because it wasn't finished. I don't know. Maybe it was supposed to be for escape sequences. I guess let's head over here next. Ooh, this is something for Ratchet Clank 1.
Hiya! This is Oliver Wade, the animation director here at Insomniac Games. The three-headed Hydra was a big cut from Ratchet & Clank 1. It was originally intended as a mini-boss on Pokitaru. Ratchet battled this beast whilst riding a boat through blowfish-infested waters. However, it didn't end up being that much fun at all.
Also, they don't always read the exact script. In fact, they usually don't. So there is a lot there that he didn't actually say.
Hiya! This is
Didn't end up being that much fun, and rather than spend inordinate amounts of time on it, it was eventually scratched. Okay. But yeah, so this is the three-headed Hydra. It was gonna be on the beach level with all of the mutated fish in the first game, in that escort mission. Back here, it looks like they're just gonna talk about these gravity ramps.
My name is Chris Town, and I'm a tester here at Insomniac Games.
Here at Insomniac, we're so hopped up on caffeine that we bounce off the walls! You can do the same with these gravity ramps.
Will do. But yeah, so they've just got a bunch of ramps around here. Now, it looks like that goes on to all kinds of stuff, so let's head back a bit. And, you know, look at all the stuff in this wing of the museum. First, let's head back here.
Hi, I'm Leslie Matheson. I'm a designer here at Insomniac Games. This was intended to be the water system for Ratchet & Clank. However, as even this little patch of water taxes the game engine to its limits, a modified and severely optimized form was what eventually made it into the game. To see this patch in action, press circle.
And to pause it, press square. So yeah, let's press circle here. Every time I press circle, it goes up like that and causes those ripples. And if I hold it, it just stays up like that. And I can cause all kinds of ripples, and then we can pause it with square. And just, you know, that is ridiculously detailed water physics for the PlayStation 2. So I can understand why they couldn't do it. What's in here?
Greetings, this is Oliver Wade, the animation director at Insomniac Games, doing an atrocious British accent. This is the original Gadgetron vendor from Ratchet & Clank 1. The official reason it was cut had something to do with saving memory. The real reason has a lot to do with squirrels, hacksaws, and our lawyers. I can say no more, because I am no longer able to do this accent.
So yeah, this was going to be the vendor. It was actually going to be a legitimate vendor rather than some, you know, futuristic science-y box. But, you know, I like the box, honestly. So I'm fine with that. I didn't miss anything back here, did I? No, I didn't. There's just some open space there.
Hey, it's Tim. This monstrosity was intended to be a boss battle fought on the jet ski gadget. Seeing as the jet ski never made it in Ratchet & Clank, however, neither did this boss. May he rest in pieces.
So yeah, interesting. This is not only a boss that was cut, but there was also a ski gadget that was cut.
Hi, my name is Sean Whistler, and I'm a tester here at Insomniac Games. This guy was originally intended to be an enemy in the ill-fated jet ski level that never made it into Ratchet & Clank 1. A moment of silence, please, for this gentle giant, torn down in his prime.
And yeah, there was gonna be a whole level for that never made it in. So that's interesting.
Sean here. Don't worry, Ratchet. You wouldn't have had to fight this monster even if he did make it into the game. This giant bug ship was intended to act as scenery only, flying from place to place to ensure high detail on buildings, while leaving the play area open. Sean here. Don't worry, Ratchet. You wouldn't have had to
Open for you to run around and fight the giant robot. Alas, it was cut due to time constraints.
Place to place to ensure high detail on buildings, while leaving the play area open.
And yeah, ignore that effect that you saw there that didn't have anything to do with this. It was just, you saw through the wall to something we'll see later. I guess we can move up a little further. Yeah, this is what you were seeing. We'll get to this in a second here. First of all, I think this is the boss thing. Yeah, so we're not missing anything here. First of all, let's just do this one because it's simpler.
My name's Corey Stockton and I'm a designer here at Insomniac Games. You may recognize this drill from Ratchet Clank 1. It was held by a large construction worker who gives you a lump of raritanium. This is originally a weapon called the Revolverator. Ratchet would strike enemies with it and then spin them over his head. Corey here.
Over his head with the drill bit. Unfortunately, this ended up leaving Ratchet open for attack and also required a lot of resources to pull off, so it was cut. So yeah, that's a weapon that didn't make it into Ratchet & Clank 1, except that it did just during, just one of the NPCs holds it. Ratchet fixed that drill, and that's why he was rewarded with raritanium. Now, this room is gonna take us some time.
Hi, my name is Tony Garcia and I'm a programmer at Insomniac Games. This wonder of an explosion was created especially for Ratchet & Clank 2. Its extreme versatility allowed it to creep into many different places in the game. You'll even see it in the electrolyzer puzzles. Stand on the blue pad to make your own explosions.
Yeah, so we actually get to make our own effects here. You can change the scale, so like how big it is. I don't really want to mess with this too much. Number of moon rocks. I wasn't paying enough attention to see what it was all left at, so I'll just move it around back and forth a bit. Number of silvers. Isn't that supposed to be slivers, or am I mistaken? Number of molten rocks. Number of clouds. Number of lines. And the color, so it's a red explosion here, but we can change that to whatever color we want. Distortion, I'm not completely yeah, here there's no distortion. Now, with it set to 1, you can see the graphics kind of shake a little there. Shell, I'm not sure what the shell is, but yeah, and shake camera. Do we want it to shake the camera? Probably not, because that's going to get really annoying while we look through the rest of the museum.
Tony Garcia here. This little demonstration allows you to create your own shot effect. Using the magic of debug technology, you can edit the shot's size and color, and then watch the bandit shoot it at the blockman. Don't feel too sorry for the blockman though, he's evil.
No, that evil blockman. So I'm not sure whether this is for this shot or that shot. I'm gonna guess it's for this shot. I think so. So front thickness, yes it is. Trail thickness. End thickness. Inner width. Tip scale. Texture rot. Like, a lot of this stuff, I don't even know what it means. Tail length. And you can make this thing huge, by the way. End length. I'm gonna start turning all this stuff down, because it is gonna get in the way later. But yeah, end length. Tip texture. They got a bunch of different textures you can use. Yeah, there's just a bunch of different ones. Bunch of different tail textures. And a bunch of different end textures. And it looks like that's all for that, and I assume that this has all of the... This does not have all of the same options. Okay. So, messing with the color of this shot here. And then they have alpha, which I think might have something to do with transparency. I know that, like, when I edit images in GIMP, like, when you make stuff, when you give something a transparent background, you give it an alpha channel or something. So... yeah, here it's just changing a lot of colors, mostly. And yeah, there are more options below the menu. I'm gonna start using the D-pad for this, because using the control stick is causing problems. But yeah, and you know, you can make the shots ridiculously big, but like I said, that'll get in the way of when we're trying to look at stuff later. Alright, so I guess let's look into this corner over here. This is the drill. Yes, it is. Okay. So we've got another car here.
Hello, this is Pedro Hastinas. I'm a gameplay programmer at Insomniac Games. This dummy was created to test the new reaction system which we added to Ratchet & Clank 2. With this system, enemies would always be sure to react appropriately to being damaged without a ton of hassle. Go ahead and hit him. He won't mind.
So this was about that black man. But what if I want him to mind when I hit him? I thought the other guy said he was evil. But yeah, and they don't really say anything about this car here. You can just take it and go.
This was created to test screen buffer effects. Screen buffer effects are used to create things like distortion bubbles and heat hazing. This, however, ends up looking like a hall of mirrors. Can you guess why? This was...
So, yeah, there's that cool effect. That's kind of neat to look into. Let's take our super plain yellow car, and you know what, forget it. It's being too difficult right now. Ah, we've got more effects to play with. Okay, tell us about this one.
Tony Garcia here. Using these 3 blue pads, you can edit the 3 particle effects in the center of the room. Go ahead, play around with them. You can achieve some truly great effects this way.
Alright, so I guess let's start off with this pad. What's this one about? Ah, this is about where the effect is pointed. Lifespan is the length of it. And, oh yeah, I remember these blue pads are each affecting a different part of the flame. So right now we're changing the flame itself. You might see there's also like a tiny blue flame down below. There's another pad that affects that. And another pad, another one of the pads affects that little whirlwind there. Oh yeah, and gravity just completely wrecks this, but you can also give it negative gravity if you want. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of different textures again. $103, wow. And then we've got texture 2. I guess you can... Okay, there's only 20 of those. So I guess we're mixing textures. That's interesting. I can't change low spawn timer. I don't even know why that's there if I can't change it. So then, is this all... Yeah, this is like all the same effects, but for the whirlwind instead. So since this is all the same stuff, I guess we don't really need to look through everything here. I guess we'll look through these textures quick. It's the same amount of textures. But yeah, and then this last one should be that little blue flame in the middle. Let's look at whatever textures it has quick. So yeah, that is that. Now we can move on a little bit further. Okay, this thing.
Corey here. This monstrous robotic squid was created for one of the Ratchet Clank 2 prototype levels. Since that level never made it into the finished game, however, neither did poor Squiddy.
So yeah, another cutout enemy from another cutout level. Poor Squiddy. And over here we've got some rooms that we will want to check out. Let's start over here, I guess.
This little widget was used to test our new chunk system. We lovingly call it the corn system. Notice how all the breakables in this game are much prettier? Well, that's corn working hard for you. Give it a whack and see what it does.
Yeah, so it's to test out the effects for when you destroy something.
Mike Stout here. Fear the random robot NPC. This robot never made it into Ratchet & Clank 1 because of the fabled Day of Poultry, when chickens swarmed over our offices and pecked the computer holding this mechanical darling to pieces. We were able to retrieve her eventually, though.
I wonder how much truth there is to that story. Like, did some guy just lose this in his files? Obviously, there was no actual poultry involved, although the first game loves its chickens. We actually kind of witnessed the Day of Poultry, possibly, in the employee break room at the Gadgetron place. Anyways, we've got another car here. This one does have weapons you can shoot. It appears to be some sort of a fighting race car with weapons and a number on the side. So that's interesting. Now, we've got this. The Infiltrator Customizer.
Mike Stout here. Have you ever wanted to create your own infiltrator puzzle? Well, now you can. Just stand on the blue pad and play around with the values a bit. Confound your friends and amaze your enemies.
So, yeah, first, let's just try to do whatever puzzle is in there already. Oh my gosh. Is the hardest okay, it's not the hardest puzzle in here by default. But holy crap. Okay, we did it. Now, though, there's a random seed, so you're not actually really designing an infiltrator puzzle. It's all randomly generated. But yeah, we can change this seed to whatever. There's the start time, which, just to make things easier on us, let's give us a lot of time. And the time that it increases when you get one right, let's give ourselves a lot more time. And now the amount of paths that each thing has. What exactly is -1? What does -1 do? We should be immediately done, right? Yeah, okay. What about 0, though? Like, what is the difference between 0 and -1? Okay, now it's not that we're done, it's that we just can't move. So it looks like -1 means that you're done. Either that or by going through all of them, you're done. And you can have up to 3 paths on each split. So I guess it was default set to the hardest one. We just saw some 2 splits in there just because that's how it had to work, I guess. What does back end G mean? I have no idea. Anyways, that is pretty much enough of that, so let's keep exploring over to these 2 rooms over here.
Hello, I'm Carl Grande, the QA manager here at Insomniac Games. This gadget was originally intended for Ratchet & Clank 1. Unfortunately, it didn't make the cut, and so never saw the light of day. It now makes its home here at Insomniac Museum, gone but not forgotten.
So is this that jet ski gadget or whatever? Maybe.
Chris here. This helmet was the original model for the Hologuise gadget in Ratchet & Clank 1. It was eventually changed to the handheld model you see in the finished game for reasons unknown. However, we once again suspect it was due to the squirrels with hacksaws.
So it was gonna be a helmet gadget rather than a hand gadget. But that got changed. So now we actually have something we need to get done here. We've got an electrolyzer puzzle. The final one and the hardest one. They always want to make the optional stuff the hardest, and this is in a super hidden area. And there we go, we did it. So now we can head outside the museum. We'll check in that guy and this in a second. First, I want to explore more out here, such as looking at Dan Johnson down there. We've got a hidden Dan Johnson. Now, I don't think there's any point to go over here. No. But there is a point to go this way. You can go around that wall there. And if we head over here, we've got this monstrous tower.
Hi, Leslie here. This gravity tower was created to test the Magna boots in Ratchet & Clank 1. However, with the new gravity boots that Ratchet gets in Ratchet & Clank 2, this tower is much more fun. Can you imagine scaling this tower while walking at half of Ratchet's speed? Yeah, we thought so.
Yeah. Thank goodness they went from the gravity boot, or went from the Magna boots to the gravity boots. That is very nice. Also, by climbing this tower and jumping off of it, you can actually get on top of the Insomniac Museum. I don't think I would recommend it though, because you see those the edges of the building there. You can very easily accidentally clip into those, and it's like going inside of a vent. But once you're in, you cannot get out. You're soft locked. And there's nothing actually on the roof of the building, so I would just recommend not going there. But yeah, there's a look at the roof. Now at this point, we should get our Visibomb gun out. Because, remember, we got here by teleporting, not by ship. But our ship, I think, has to be loaded into every level. So it's got to be somewhere, right? Well, you might have just seen it. Our ship is all the way down here. And you can get a good look at it with the Visibomb gun. I wonder if it's actually possible to get out there somehow, like through some infinite jump glitch or something. And I wonder if you would actually be able to get into it if you stand on it. Now, I'll get to that little panel in a second. I just want to make sure there's nothing else over here first. Oh, there is something over here, and I know exactly what. Yet another Dan Johnson. Wait, is that Dan Johnson? I don't think that's the picture they usually use, so maybe that's a different guy. Either way, someone got a cameo here. So I don't think that's him. I really wonder who that is. Anyways, this thing here is a teleporter. And we now have a teleport to the weird gravity ballroom here at the start. And yeah, that teleport is instantaneous. Anyways, time to check out the last thing, this big tower here. And this tower is pretty cool. I want to take another look at Dan here. Yeah, that is definitely a different guy than who is back there. This one is for sure Dan. I don't know who that other guy was.
These teleporters were originally intended to go into several of the levels. Due to time constraints, however, they were eventually cut.
Okay, so that message was about the teleporters. Alright, but this teleporter goes inside that tower. So what is this tower about?
Brian Allgeier here. These escalating rows of blocks were used when we were in the early stages of creating Ratchet & Clank 1. They were used to test Ratchet's jump heights and jump distances to see which would be the most fun.
So yeah, this is like a testing area. So we've got these things which measure how far Ratchet can jump. And on the sides, it measures how high he can jump. And over here...
Brian Allgeier here. These walls, which range from narrow to wide, were used to test wall kick distances for the original Ratchet & Clank.
Yeah, we've got wall jump testing. And if we head over here, this is the widest one, so... Yeah, I think Yeah, we are making our way upward, but man, that is a bit more annoying to deal with. There we go. Wasn't too bad, but definitely not the ideal distance that they should have between each other. If we look up, you can see these little walkways. Most of them don't have collision. I believe that this one does. Yeah. But I don't think any of the other walkways up there do. But finally, we've got this guy, which is our last little message here.
Brian Allgeier here. These ramps get steeper and steeper as you go on. They were used to test how Ratchet's feet respond to different floor angles. It also helped establish that a 45-degree angle was the sharpest that Ratchet should be able to walk up.
45-degree angle, huh? We'll see about that. And yeah, see, his feet do angle themselves to match with the ramp. But yeah, here's 40. Here's 45. So they can do what he said. Can he go beyond that, though? He can slowly go halfway up this one, but not further. But he can do the rest by jumping. And then you can actually get up this one if you use your wrench while sliding. And this can help you climb up a lot further. It gets tricky though, because he starts to want to do the hyper strike instead of the normal wrench attack. Yeah, and at this point we can't use that trick anymore. So we can get up 65 degrees normally, but look, there's an opening over there. Well, what if I want to get up there? This is where we get out good old first-person mode. Because we can do that thing where you jump and use the wrench over and over again to climb walls. And here we are at the opening, but let's go all the way up instead of just falling out of the opening. And our 90-degree angle gets us to the top. And we can hop out of first-person mode now. Yeah, this does not have collision, by the way. Do not try to walk on that. So we have seen just about everything that this place has to offer. Except for one more thing. And that is out here. I don't know where it is, but we can actually find the electrolyzer puzzle. Yeah, out here. Let's try to get a better look at that. Maybe from higher up. But yeah, that is the electrolyzer puzzle that we solved just a little bit ago. I wouldn't be surprised if all levels have that hidden in the level somewhere, at least all levels with electrolyzer puzzles. Ones that have more than one electrolyzer puzzle probably have this hidden in the level multiple times. Because that's probably how they work. They probably just move the camera to that location. I don't even know where I'm going anymore. But yeah, the camera probably just moves to above the puzzle And that's what we're solving there. Let's try to see if we can get in the vents here. Yeah, there we go. That's what the inside of those look like. And if you get in there, you're stuck there forever. Okay, so this is solid. And you can also clip back in. So yeah, that is pretty much everything in Ratchet & Clank Going Commando's Insomniac Museum. Actually, part of me is curious here. Because these lamps were destructible on Bolden. And they're destructible here as well, so you can actually get stuff here. You can also totally destroy these cars because they have like health bars. At least I think you can. I don't know. Okay, and my box breaker doesn't affect that thing. But anyways, yeah, that is everything that the Insomniac Museum, at least this game's version of the Insomniac Museum, has to offer. All we have left to do now is just to leave. Back from Dantopia to Boldan. But yeah, so that is my last video of this game where I'm actually gonna be doing commentary. So yeah, I guess I'm the Terminian Hero, and I will see you next time for something else.